You don't bring me flowers. That is a classic song by Neil Diamond and Barbra Streisand.
Oh.
A dynamic duo that should never be forgotten. They're still alive.
Are they?
But you shouldn't forget them. Anyway, big news, breaking news over the weekend. Welcome back, Casino Guitars. Thanks for joining us. Click like, subscribe, and that bell if you like any of these strange shenanigans information. But this is real breaking news. Gibson did win a huge lawsuit against, against a lot of people, against Dean primarily. And there's a copyright, body shape, headstock shapes. You got Flying V, Explorer, and
the SG. That's the one that caught me by surprise. I was like,
Zinger.
whoa.
This has been going on for years.
It is.
Like this trial only took about 2 weeks, but this sort of,
Isn't that weird how it works? Like it just takes forever,
like
just to get to it, and then it's like done. It's like over.
Because they've had so many versions of this trial,
Yeah.
and they've sort of, it's kind of like Johnny Depp. It's like, he had the trial against the Sun in England, and he lost that one because of somebody owned part of it that was friends with Amber and whatever.
Yeah.
But the judge was friends with the people that owned. Anyway, that's another story.
It's wild.
I've been watching way too much of that. But no, this sort of affects not just body shapes. There's headstocks with the hummingbird and the dove as well. It's a big deal for manufacturers or people that are sort of pro intellectual property rights. Yeah. Not saying that Gibson didn't steal the Les Paul body shape originally from another person way back in the day. It seems to be a brutal business out there.
It's different times.
Well, no, and it's like the Les Paul's not really in there. That's sort of considered.
Not. Yeah, that's open. It's free to anybody.
The Strat, the Telly.
Yeah, the SG I think is the big one of this though, because that is that's one of those body shapes that I would assume, being a dumb young person, that nobody, like anybody could make an SG, just because it seems like such a,
Yes.
big,
And before we get too personality into it, which we have a lot, we'll keep chattering for a while. I'm just going to read you what Gibson actually released on their press statement about the verdict. The court's decision by jury today to uphold Gibson's long-established and well-recognized trademarks for Gibson's innovative and iconic guitar shape is a win for Gibson and the music community at large. The court found that Gibson trademarks are valid and Gibson shapes are not generic, and the defendants were guilty of both infringement and counterfeiting. That's a key part of this, going back to quotes. Gibson is very pleased with the outcome after years of simply trying to protect their brand and businesses through well-recognized intellectual property rights that have been Gibson's for decades. It goes on further. That's the gist of it. But the counterfeiting and infringement part is a big deal, because with that comes not libel, but comes penalties that are actualized in monetary results. So you can actually be fined for each instance of counterfeiting and of thousands of dollars.
That's pretty tough. Like per guitar, the thought of that is insane.
It could be coming. Well, it's just the same thing that happened with Napster, when everybody was stealing music, and they're like, "Oh, it's all free music, haha!" And then they're like, "No, you got to pay us for that now." And
per song, per download.
No, I knew a kid who got hit for it. His mom had to write like a $4,000 check.
It was horrifying.
It was kind of awesome though, because it's just so absurd. And that's you can thank Metallica for that one.
Thanks, Lars.
Yeah, it was Lars. I mean, no, but he was leading the charge in a good way.
In a good way, yeah.
Because nobody knew what to do. Anyway, that's the whole other thing. It was just the wrong timing.
Well, that's like a great comparison for this stuff, just because these guitars have been, they've been what you could consider stolen for how long now? I mean, what, 30 years, something like that,
I mean, I'm going to call a spade too. Like, I like lots of these boutique makers that copy these guitar shapes. Yeah. I do. Like, I love them. I think they make better ones than Gibson has made sometimes. I think Jackson crushes V's. I think Dean owns the metal world.
They do.
As far as, and it's tricky.
Yeah, it's funny you bring it up, because like the shapes that Dean is copying and stuff like that, I've never viewed as, like, I view them as their own thing. I never think of it as like, oh, that's like a Gibson Explorer, It's like, no, that's like a very metal-based guitar.
I had the same conversation with Johnny on Friday night. We were sitting there, and Johnny's out of town. He's at the beach. So he's at the beach week. I like to think he's at Myrtle Beach, because that's the only beach in my opinion, but I don't know where he is. He's at one of the beaches. But we talked on Friday night about this topic when it came out. And he was saying that too, but it is tricky though, but it is Gibson shape.
It is.
I mean, the V is the V, and
Well, there's such unique shapes too. It's hard to say like, no, I had that same. It's like, no. You can't.
I mean, the Stratocaster should have been.
Yes.
And let's stop for a minute because this could reopen those wounds of the big FMIC going after cats again too. I mean, they still do it. There's much more
Strategic?
Yeah, it's like just clandestine about it. They're not like
That's
public.
a word I've never heard before.
They're not as public like Gibson, like with like they were sort of lawsuit crazy when the new corporate takeover happened.
Yeah.
And which I get. They're trying to protect the brand, and I get it.
Yeah.
Part of me hates it. Part of me gets it.
I just feel like there's so many Strats and Tellys
Yeah.
out in the world. Like it's like where would you even start? You know?
I mean,
It's
they could just be
insane.
like, boom, from this
They
day
could,
forth.
yeah.
This is our body shape, and then
Well,
and the
especially
T.
after this, you know, like Gibson making it happen. It's kind of like, well, Fender could maybe make it happen too. I don't know. That's so weird.
And I get it if they do it. I hope they don't. I hope because I got to call us a spade because like I love the boutique makers that make the T styles and the S styles, and and I like that PRS makes a cool thing called a Silver Sky too. And
I kind of do too.
And I don't. That is a Strat looking guitar.
Well, one of my favorite PRSs is like a Fiore, even though
so weird.
it's not everybody else's favorite. It's one of mine. I like it. I think it's super cool
It is a
because
cool
it just does like a thing.
That private stock I got to play last week, it was really good. That was a really good guitar.
So good.
It's on the YouTube channel. Just go back a couple days. It's awesome.
We got two like really killer private stocks right now. They're just insane.
Yeah, but that
That
wood
one wins.
The other one's really good too.
So pretty.
I just never seen like that one like that. Picking out the wood yourself is fun.
Well, yeah. Well, like the color that you did was we're off track.
Anyway, so it is big breaking news. We don't know what the ripples will be. There's obviously going to be. They're going to they can't countersue this, but they're going to appeal this. Dean will, because this could destroy their business.
Yeah,
if this locks in.
If you look at it, I don't know of any other Dean guitars outside of the Explorers and stuff like that. I think there's a few Strat shapes that I've seen and stuff, but the Explorers and the V's have been like the big ones for me that I've always seen. So
Will that be like pretend that for a minute Fender didn't own Charvel, and they're like, hey, we're gonna go. It's like, all right,
yeah,
it's Charvel exists off of the brand of what Fender created.
Absolutely.
And then the whole thing's a weaving web, lies and deceits and copyrights and patents and
It's weird, man.
stolen intellectual property from some of the bigs too.
That's right.
I will say Leo came up with his own stuff pretty good though,
They did an alright job.
because the Telecaster was ugly when that came out compared to a Gretsch.
Yeah, I mean it's still like a plank of wood, It's
a
like
Bodor.
a board.
But we all love them now.
We do, yeah. No, I mean I want one. I always want one.
Wouldn't that be cool if they could do that with people? And because that way, like they'd be like, no, Baxter's what people should look like, because I'm objectively ugly.
Copy paste.
But they could be like, this is the new Brad Pitt. I'm like, this is awesome.
Is that how you see yourself? Is the next Brad Pitt?
No, didn't you understand
new
what I
Brad
said? The new Brad Pitt, the better Brad.
Oh, the better Brad
Because like they're gonna realize that they don't need an attractive, pretty guitar or an attractive, pretty man. It's like Johnny Depp in his prime, which is now.
Forever.
Minus those terrible suits he's wearing.
I think till the day that Johnny Depp dies, he'll be the coolest guy.
Did you see that he did a surprise appearance after they finished up the trial? So they're in deliberations right now, the jury. So
Yes.
he went out to London and did a show with Jeff Beck.
No way. That's
All
awesome.
the way. Surprised he just popped on the stage and just started rocking out. And it's like, that's awesome.
I'm happy for him. That's good.
Well, because he's not. What are you gonna do? Stick around in Fairfax, Virginia, waiting for the verdict?
Yeah.
No. Like, got to get on with your life. This has taken up 4 years of your life.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Not the trial, but this trauma. Just move on.
It's funny you bring up trial. I didn't watch any of it until this weekend. And whenever I started watching, I was like, "What is going on?" Like,
It's so much fun.
It is. It's like they were asking her questions,
I
and she
know.
was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" And it's like what I just asked.
And Johnny's
That's what
law. It's the only time I've ever been like, you know what? I wouldn't mind if my kid was a lawyer. I've never thought that before until watching. It's like you see stuff like these, like Johnny's legal team. You're like, all right. You see poor Amber Heard's legal team, and it's different. And I would like to have seen Gibson's legal team. I sort of equate that to,
Man, wouldn't it be cool if they had that trial and that would be cool to see how they proved and brought that.
Dude, I bet this trial was so boring.
Oh, I'm sure. But we would have been entertained.
They had
We'd have been
expert
like, wow.
witnesses come in. I've read quite a bit on the trial. They had a few. They're bringing in expert witnesses trying to debunk that it was we're stealing the. It's like, but it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty cut and dry case.
Well, I mean, it only took 2 weeks, which is somewhat impressive, I would say. It didn't take, they weren't like going for months and months on like, oh, well, this angle.
So let us know your thoughts on this.
Do it.
If you think this is a good thing, a win for Gibson, a lose for the guitar community, can Dean survive this? Can they come out of it? Yeah,
Maybe.
I think so.
I think so. I think they'll.
I don't think this is over.
I don't think so. Either.
I think this is just maybe the first domino fall, and maybe this will lead to change. But Johnny and I were talking too on the phone on Friday. It's weird because Gibson has fought very hard to protect themselves here. This has no effect in Asia and in Europe, really. It does a little bit as far as Dean's manufacturing the products, but the counterfeit type of pieces that copy these designs, it doesn't affect them at all. And the funnier part is certain counterfeiting ones that are owned by major manufacturers or major guitar resellers. I mean, Gibson's not going to go after them anyway because they're some of their biggest customers.
Yeah.
So it's a funny.
It is.
It's a funny web.
It's very strange, but it is how it is, right?
Want to go home?
Yeah, let's go home.
Should we shave or not shave? That's the question. I'm going to keep this on for like 2 more days. Then I might go mustache.
I think that'd be cool.
What do you think?
I think that'd be
just
awesome.
Mustache for a day, just to horrify my wife.
Big hoss. You come in and grow it out and get all Sam Elliott.
God, it'd be so
It's a
cool.
going hoss.
All I have to do is just this. My wife says you can't do that. You have to be careful.
I think you just mustache it. I think you look cool. You look like, you look like the sheriff.
I want to be a sheriff. I'm like, hey, Sheriff Baxter's here. It's just so dirty. I had a mustache. My wife's, I think it was our high school reunion. Like 10-year high school reunion, like back in the day. And it was like, she was horrified. I didn't tell her. I just like came out of the bathroom.
Just showed up.
Like we were in the bathroom. I shaved like down and she's like, oh God, it's too late. We got to go. She's like, oh my God. Like, hey.
There's no time.
Yeah.
Get in the car.
I think I grew a goatee when I asked her to marry me, just like the horror things, just to upset her. So you do, man.
It's time we grow up.
I'm out of here. Casino Guitars, like, subscribe, bell, signing out.
See you later.
Peace.